But actually now, Jake Paul has got to think about what he's doing next. If you're that good and you think you're clever, why don't you fight Usyk? Alexander Usyk, he'll fight you. Let's see how that works out for you. You get flattened. Game over.
As the number 14 cruiserweight in the world, according to the WBA. This is an absolute mockery. It's an absolute disgrace. It's a total piss take.
Able to fight voluntarily to defend their championship against Jake Paul. Which, if I'm being honest, that's kind of crazy, bro. Isn't that crazy? Right? You're telling me you fought somebody that's not a natural cruiserweight, right?
Jake Paul is now officially ranked the 14th best cruiserweight in the world. And the boxing community is absolutely furious. This isn't a joke or clickbait. The WBA has just made one of the most controversial decisions in recent memory. And it's lit the sport on fire. After defeating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Jake Paul is now eligible to fight for a world title. Yes, a YouTuber turned boxer is one step away from becoming a world champion. And fighters, legends, and fans are calling this a complete disgrace. Former world champion Carl Froch said it.
So I've just found out that Jake Paul, the YouTuber influencer who has been doing a bit of boxing against people who aren't boxers, aside from Tommy Fury, who is a complete novice boxer, and an old retired champion in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who has been through rehab and all kinds of stuff, been out of the ring for quite a while, an OAP Mike Tyson, who physically is in a terrible place, and two now inactive cruiserweights called Andre August and Ryan Borland, who I have absolutely no idea who they are. I've just found out that that's what qualifies you as the number 14 cruiserweight in the world, according to the WBA. This is an absolute mockery. It's an absolute disgrace. It's a total piss take. I've been in the middle of making another video about Hamza Shiraz and Edgar Berlanga, and I've had to just stop what I'm doing and make a reaction to this. And I'm just going to go in raw here because I'm absolutely furious. I'm absolutely furious. Like, this is the sort of shit that we have to deal with as boxing fans. Everybody in this sport, and I call it a sport because that's exactly what it is, tries to treat it like it's just a business, like it's just a way of lining their back pockets. You cannot tell me in any world that Jake Paul has done enough to be ranked as the number 14 cruiserweight in the entire world. And I want to be really clear from the off, this isn't actually an attack on Jake Paul's boxing ability, because that's not what this is about. It's about what have you done to show me you're the 14th best cruiserweight in the world. Because for all I know, you might put him in there and he might do really bloody well, but that's not the point. You have to earn that position. How can you have earned that position? By fighting a bunch of influencers, athletes from other sports, and having lost to one of the only active boxers that you've actually faced, in Tommy Fury, who very much is a part-time boxer at this point in his life. And then your most recent and highest profile win being against a guy who didn't throw a bloody punch for the first half of the fight.
Best, if Jake Paul thinks is good, he should fight Alexander Usyk. Let's see how that ends. Flattened. Game over. Boxers have spent years grinding their way up the rankings. Jake Paul leapfrogged them in under 2 years by beating influencers, retired legends, and unknown fighters. Let's not forget, he lost to Tommy Fury, the only real boxer he faced. And even Tommy isn't exactly world level. Chavez Jr. He barely threw a punch. In the first 5 rounds, he threw only 36 punches and landed just 8. That's not a real fight. That's a sparring session. And yet, based on that performance, Jake Paul is now top 15 in the world. Make it make sense. This isn't about hating on Jake's hustle. Credit where it's due, he's built a brand, brought new fans to boxing, and taken risks. But boxing is a sport, not a popularity.
Guy can now win a world title. Jake Paul, after beating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., has now been moved to number 14 in the WBA official rankings, meaning he can be a voluntary defence for Zurdo Gilberto Ramirez's world title. But this is now where we need to beg the question of what is wrong with these rankings, because there is no world where Jake Paul is the 14th best cruiserweight. What do we do? What's boxing got to do to save this? Is it go to a one belt division like the UFC have, or is it just for the divisions that we've got and the belts that we've got to actually just sort themselves out? Make sure you subscribe for the updates, we'll keep it coming, but this is mental.
Contest. You're supposed to earn your place. Earn your title shot. Beat contenders. Face ranked opponents. Not washed-up champions and part-time boxers. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. hasn't been ranked in years. He's been in and out of rehab. He's lost his fire. That was the plan. Jake's team knew what they were doing. Beat a big name on paper. Get a ranking. Push for a title. And it worked. The WBA
After defeating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., the WBA decided to give Jake Paul a ranking. According to them, he's the 14th best cruiserweight boxer in the world. I know they're trying to push him for a title shot and it's the show business and whatnot, but you're disrespecting all the cruiserweight boxers with this one. And to even be ranked, aren't you supposed to actually defeat someone who's ranked? Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. hasn't been ranked in years.
Officially ranked Jake Paul at number 14. That means he can now challenge world champion Zurdo Ramirez as a voluntary opponent. Let that sink in. Boxing insiders are calling it a sellout, a disgrace, a betrayal of the sport. Because now the title scene isn't about skill, hunger, or dedication. It's about clout, followers, money. This decision undermines every fighter in the division. Young prospects working their way up. Champions defending their belts with honor. All of it pushed.
So now that Jake Paul won his fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he's apparently ranked top 15 cruiserweights in the world. And apparently, I guess now, world champions are able to fight voluntarily to defend their championship against Jake Paul. Which, if I'm being honest, that's kind of crazy, bro. Isn't that crazy? Right? You're telling me you fought somebody that's not a natural cruiserweight, right? And now you're automatically ranked top 15 and you could fight a couple of world champions and it makes sense. Not that I think he beats any of them. I'm going to be completely honest. I can't see it, bro. If Jake ends up beating somebody, yo, shout out to him. He finessed his way to the fucking top and a world champion and really like cemented himself into the history books. But the way that he boxes, he's just very sluggish. It's kind of slow. You know, I think any cruiserweight world champion, even Badu Jack, would defeat him. And I actually don't even understand why he even wants to fight Anthony Joshua. Besides the bag, obviously. But what do you guys think, though? This whole shit has gone crazy.
Aside to make room for a social media superstar. Even respected fighters like Rayo Valenzuela said Jake is improving. But improvement alone shouldn't guarantee a world ranking. Not like this. And now Jake Paul wants to fight Canelo Alvarez at cruiserweight. He said it would be the biggest fight of the century. The most watched fight of all time. He says Canelo's on his way out and will want a payday. This isn't ambition. This is delusion. Meanwhile, fans are starting...
He did not throw barely any punches for the first half of the fight.
More than half. First 8 rounds, you might say.
Yeah, and a little life at the end, but too late when he knew the fight was winding down on time. I say this, that it was hard for me to gauge the performance of Jake Paul. It's essentially a sparring session, and I'm trying to see, is he continuing, is he developing, is he getting better? And off of this fight, it was hard to gauge when you're fighting a puncher bag, but then towards the end of the fight, I thought he was exposed. The stamina started to dip, the defense wasn't tight, there was some technical flaws, you could find them, you could hit him. In the end, he gets a decision, he gets another win, he keeps his show moving on. What'd you make of this fight? What'd you think of Jake Paul and his performance overall?
Making no excuses for Jake Paul. Give him credit for what he's done with his career, with his promotion, with his business, with his dream. Give him credit. Give the guy credit. God almighty, he takes risks.
To wonder if the fights are even real. During Jake's fight with Chavez Jr., people noticed that Google listed Jake as the winner before the fight ended. That added fuel to the rumors that some of Jake's fights are scripted. And it's not just fans. Carl Froch said it outright. Jake has no power. He called him a clown. Said he fights with his eyes closed under pressure. And yet here we are. Jake Paul, ranked number 14 in the world. Boxing used to be about earning your legacy, proving yourself.
Chavez Jr., one guy performed, one guy did what he was supposed to do, brought the fight in, and one guy just did it. And if I'm talking about Jake Paul and a former world champion, you'd think that what I'm about to say favors the former world champion. And then you realize I'm talking about Chavez Jr., and then you say, no, well, okay, we have to flip those because Chavez Jr. is known for disappointing on the biggest stage, and that's what happened again here. I cannot tell you how disappointed I am in watching Chavez Jr. over the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds throw a total of 36 punches. I didn't say land. That's not what I said. I said throw. Chavez Jr. threw 36 punches over 5 rounds. And out of the 36 he threw, he landed 8. 8 punches through 5 rounds. 15 through 6. 20 through 7. He landed 20 punches through 7 rounds.
Inside the ring. Now, it's about numbers, views, influence. And that's what hurts the most. Because every time boxing lets something like this slide, it loses a little more of its soul. Is Jake Paul the future of boxing? Or a symptom of its downfall? Only time will tell. But the damage has already been done. Please like and subscribe my YouTube channel.